The Conjuring universe is one of the biggest horror franchises in all of modern cinema, spanning decades of interconnected stories, cursed artifacts, and real-life inspired cases. But because the movies weren't released in chronological order, following the actual timeline can be a little confusing. Today, we're going to go through the entire universe in story order, from the origins of Valak, the demon in the 1950s, to the Warrens' most famous case in the 1980s, so you can see how everything fits together leading up to the much anticipated release of the finale of the franchise, The Conjuring: Last Rites. The story begins in 1952 with The Nun. At a remote abbey in Romania, a nun takes her own life under mysterious circumstances. The Vatican sends Father Burke, a seasoned priest, and Sister Irene to investigate. As they uncover the abbey's dark history, they discover that a demonic entity named Valak, taking the form of a terrifying nun, has been unleashed. The climax sees Irene temporarily trapping Valak using the blood of Christ, but the demon's influence isn't destroyed. This film establishes Valak as one of the most important figures in the universe, setting up its reappearance decades later. 3 years later, in 1955, the focus shifts to Annabelle creation. A doll maker and his wife, grieving the loss of their young daughter, attempt to summon her spirit. Instead, they invite a demon into their home, which attaches itself to one of the man's dolls, Annabelle. Years later, when a group of orphans and a nun come to stay in the house, the demon seizes the opportunity to wreak havoc. One of the girls, Janice, becomes possessed and eventually escapes, continuing Annabelle's cycle of terror. This film gives us the full origin of Annabelle and explains how the doll became a vessel for evil. Then we move on into 1967 with Annabelle. A young couple, John and Mia, experience a horrifying home invasion by members of a satanic cult. During the attack, blood is spilled on the doll, Annabelle, and the demonic presence inside it grows stronger. Strange and terrifying events follow. Doors slam, rocking chairs move on their own, and the entity repeatedly tries to claim Mia's soul through the doll. By the end, Annabelle ends up in the possession of a pawn shop, where she eventually crosses paths with the Warrens. This connects the doll directly into the Warrens' world, setting up its later role in The Conjuring. In 1971, we reach the first film released in the franchise, The Conjuring. This story follows Ed and Lorraine Warren, real-life paranormal investigators, as they help the Perron family. After moving into a farmhouse in Rhode Island, the parents begin to experience disturbing phenomena. Their clocks stop at the same time each night, they hear clapping in the dark, and their family dog is killed under mysterious circumstances. The Warrens discover that the house is haunted by the spirit of Bathsheba, a woman accused of witchcraft who sacrificed her child and cursed the land. The film culminates in a violent exorcism led by Ed, with Lorraine guiding him through her psychic visions. The Conjuring firmly establishes the Warrens as the centerpiece of the universe, while also referencing Annabelle in its opening scene. 1 year later, in 1972, Annabelle Comes Home begins with the Warrens taking possession of the doll. Knowing how dangerous it is, they lock it inside their artifact room and bless it to keep the evil contained. But when a babysitter and her curious friend enters the room and unintentionally disturbs Annabelle, the doll awakens other cursed objects. These artifacts come to life, terrorizing the Warrens' young daughter, Judy, and her friends throughout the night. This film shows the wider scope of the Warrens' collection, making it clear that Annabelle acts like a beacon for other supernatural entities. Next, in 1973, we have The Curse of La Llorona. The story follows a social worker named Anna, whose children are targeted by La Llorona, a vengeful spirit from Mexican folklore. Known as the Weeping Woman, she drowned her own children centuries earlier and now preys on others. While the Warrens are not directly involved, the film connects to the universe through Father Perez, the priest from Annabelle, who warns Anna about cursed objects and the dangers of evil spirits. The film works more as a side story, showing the hauntings in the Conjuring universe are not limited to just the Warren cases. By 1977, we move into The Conjuring 2, set in London. The Warrens investigate the Enfield poltergeist case, one of their most famous. A single mother and her children are tormented by violent poltergeist activity. Furniture moves, the girls are possessed, and voices come from nowhere. As Lorraine digs deeper, she realizes Valak, the demon first introduced in The Nun, is behind much of the activity, manipulating the haunting. The film also introduces the terrifying Crooked Man, another spirit tied to the case. The movie reinforces Valak's recurring role and solidifies the Warrens' reputation as the foremost paranormal investigators of their time. And finally, in 1981, we arrive at The Conjuring: The Devil Made Me Do It. This case begins with a young boy possessed by a demon. During an exorcism, Ed Warren witnesses the demon transfer into Arnie Johnson. Soon after, Arnie kills his landlord during a violent episode. The Warrens investigate, uncovering a satanic cult's curse that led to the possession. The trial becomes historic as Arnie Johnson becomes the first person in U.S. history to claim demonic possession as a defense for murder. This film shifts the franchise into legal and historical territory while still keeping its supernatural roots intact. And with the ending of that film comes in 1986's The Conjuring Last Rites, which is releasing September 5th. This movie will cap off the franchise, and a franchise that's been so important to horror fans and is one of my top 5 favorite horror franchises of all time. It's going to be great to see what this case is about, and then 2, how it ends the Warren story, and will it end on a lighter note like a lot of the other movies do, or if it will end on a darker note. I mean, there's plenty of ways that they can go about it, so I really look forward to it myself. But yes, that is the timeline in terms of the story regarding the Conjuring franchise. I know a lot of people like to watch it in this story order, and some people like to watch it in terms of movie release. I personally am one of the ones that like to watch it in terms of movie release date. I saw the original Conjuring in theaters in 2013, and it was a top 3 movie theater experience for me, so it's kind of hard to beat that feeling. So anytime I watch the franchise, I love starting at The Conjuring, then I'll watch The Conjuring 2, and then I might watch Annabelle Comes Home like I just did last night with my fiance, or sometimes I'll throw on the original Annabelle from 2014. So it all just depends on how I'm feeling. But that is it, Spooky Gang. Y'all let me know what y'all think of the Conjuring franchise, and how excited are you for the release of the finale of the franchise? Y'all comment that down below. If you're new to the channel, y'all go ahead, like the video, subscribe. We're on the road to 10K subs, and that goal is not gonna stop until we hit it. We're just gonna keep grinding. And also for my Spooky Gang, obviously the next video that I'm probably gonna release is gonna be related to The Conjuring The Last Rites. But after that, if you guys have any ideas or anything that you would want to see on the channel following that, then comment that down below as well. I'll probably make a post on the channel just for everybody to sort of vote and poll on some of their ideas. But outside of that, Spooky Gang, y'all already know how we rocking. Until next time, y'all stay blessed and y'all stay spooky.